engines humming, lights burn bright. Another season, broad daylight. History written, legacies free. Welcome back, this is season 3. Slugger ruled when it all began. Season 1, the original hand. Richard Dempsey took the crown. Season 2, he shut it down. Now the grid is back again. New contenders, old revenge. Same league, higher velocity. Every lap writes history. Season 3, feel the heat. Wheel to wheel, no retreat. From green lights to victory. Matt Malone League, this is me. Season 3, stand your ground. Every inch is hard fought now. No rewind, no guarantee. Matt Malone, Patreon League. Season 3. Crowns are earned, not given free. 2 champions, now history. Who's next when the lights go green? Welcome to the grid, season 3. Season 3, feel the heat. Wheel to wheel, no retreat. From green lights to victory. Matt Malone League, this is me. Season 3, stand your ground. Every inch is hard fought now. No rewind, no guarantee. Matt Malone, Patreon League. Season 3.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Matt Malone Patron League here for round number 2 of the 3rd season of competition, and we are around the fantastic Thruxton circuit, the fastest circuit in the UK, and we are going to be heading out tonight in the SCCA Spec Racer Ford. It is going to be a crazy combination. We have got right now just some scenes in the background, the server opening in about 7 minutes time, and we will see our drivers down onto the track for an open qualifying session of just over 20 minutes. Then they'll grid themselves up for a quick 20-minute race, all said and done within the hour. It is going to be a fantastic event once more. And as we go into the second round of competition here, we are yet to get the drop weeks applied. Now, at the end of next week, we are going to get 2 drop weeks immediately applied to the championship standings. That means at the end of the 3rd round of competition, we are going to see a standings that is everyone's best result only, and that's until the championship obviously ticks across to some more races and we start getting more points on the board. Now, the championship has previously been won by Slugger and Richard Dempsey last time out in the Porsches around Silverstone. Slugger had some connection issues. He was unable to take part. Dempsey was on a beach somewhere, so he was unable to take part, which meant we didn't see either of our defending champions head down there onto the racing surface. However, we will be seeing them out there tonight and giving it a go and seeing what they can do if potentially we could see a repeat champion for the first time in this season history, or will we see a new champion? I know that Matty Quill is nipping at the heels to take a championship after 2 back-to-back second place finishes in the opening 2 seasons. Now then, we have got a championship standings to look at out of the Porsche races last week. We'll look right now at our top 10, and then at the end of the races we will look at the full championship standings Remember, no drop weeks currently being applied. They will be applied for the first time next time out. Now, of course, it was Checkers who took the victory last week with 25 points on the board and just missing out on that elusive first win in this league was Big Al after taking his first ever podium last week. Can he do a repeat here today? Now, in the pre-practice server that they just had open, Big Al was near the front. He was showing some good pace out there, so it is a possibility. We could see him back up there towards the front, potentially take that victory. However, we do have, of course, Slugger and Richard Dempsey back into it. Dempsey being the most winningest and the most polest driver, if there's such a word, with 7 pole positions over the course of the previous 2 seasons for Dempsey. 5 wins for him. Matty Grill is second in both of those lists. But what can we expect tonight? Now, Slugger is looking rather quick in these machines as well, but season number 2 certainly did not go his way. It was a very challenging season, a lot of retirements, a lot of instants for him, and he didn't even manage to crack the top 5 in his defending year. However, what will he be able to do today as he steps in properly for the first time this season? Now, Kevin Parrish is up there. He sits 3rd position at the moment after a strong result last week. And then we've got a whole host of new names towards the top there with Kevin Parrish. You've got Josh Stafford and Papanokums both stepping in last week for the first time in the league. And I know that we're going to get a number of new names out there today as well when the session goes live in just a few minutes' time. Then Matt Malone, he finished top 6 in the end after a dismal qualifying session. He was taking full advantage of other people's errors and he was just showing some good pace. This means he sits 6th in the championship going into the second week of asking. And Auburn Kyle, who managed to sneak into 3rd in the championship last season, he finished 7th last week, so has some points on the board. And that's what matters early doors, is just getting those points on the board. Mecharm back inside the top 10, a familiar name up there. Drux TV in 9th, and Matty Grill, the man who has finished 2nd in the championship in both seasons so far. He's currently 10th in the championship after having some issues last week out. Now, we are going to take a short break here in the commentary booth because we are going to prepare for the launch of the session. So before we do that, I just want to welcome you to the commentary booth for the first time this week, and I hope you are all having a fantastic week as we prepare for round number 2 of the Matt Malone Patron League. I've got all my stats ready, I've got my chat mat ready. We are going to get ready to go around the fastest circuit in the UK. If you're watching here tonight live, welcome in John over on the Twitch there, and a good evening to you. Make sure you do hit that follow button here to make sure you are notified when we do go live, not just for the Matt Malone Patron League, but for all of the broadcasts we do throughout the week, and a sneaky POV stream tomorrow as well if you want to watch me get down behind the wheel myself. Now, the calendar up ahead of us then is going to be strong. We head out to Mugello next Saturday on Valentine's Day in the Formula Vs, where we have love in the air and hatred for the car. Round number 4, we head across to Willow Springs. We do have a week break between Mugello and Willow Springs, though, as we've got the Bathurst 12 hours, which means that we will wait until the end of the month to head down back there to, in the V8 Supercars actually, a new track, a new car in this series. Neither of them have we seen in the Matt Malone Patron League before. We then go to the first oval of the season. We're of course in Michigan for round number 5 in the Xfinities. We've seen how good we are in those cars. We had them in Chicagoland last season and it was absolutely fantastic racing. Only a couple of safety cars. Well, full course shallows, I should say. We then head across to Sonoma, where we have a rallycross event for the first time in the Matt Malone Patron League, before we head down under to Phillip Island and the IndyCars. We then have our first dirt oval race, Bristol Dirt in the Dirt Mini Shocks on April 4th, we head across to Red Bull Ring in the only machine that has been featured in all 3 seasons on the calendar. It's the Dallara P2, and then we will be heading across to Chicago Street for the first time in the TCRs. But we will be back to bring you all of the action here at Thruxton in just a moment's time. We'll just be waiting for the server to launch, and we'll bring you all of the qualifying and race actions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. welcome back here. We are ready for qualifying. Drivers are out there putting in some lap times around the circuit as we prepare to go racing around the Thruxton circuit here in the UK, the fastest circuit in the UK, of course. We've talked you through the calendar, we talked about last week, and we have talked about the championship standings. So it is time, without further ado, to have a little look at what our drivers are able to do out there and what lap times they're able to place in. We are going to have a little bit of a look here at Big Al. Big Al running around right now, second in the championship, still waiting to try and get that elusive first win in this league. He has managed to take a number of second places, including last week. He managed to place it on pole position in those Porsches. Can he repeat that feat today? There are a number of drivers who have been able to take more than one pole in this league. Only 4 drivers who have been able to take more than one. Richard Dempsey is the man with the most pole positions in the Matt Malone Patron League. He has taken 7, and he right now is also out there in the number 30 machine, seeing what he can do in this session. We do already have some lap times getting placed on the board, so let's have a little look how the championship, how the race order is going to line up right now. And at the moment, it is race winner from last week, Checkers, who is at the very top of the championship order right now, looking like he might be able to take what would be his second pole position in league history, his first this season. Matty Quill did not have the best of runs out in the Porsches last week. He's currently up there towards the front as well, running in second position, but just behind Checkers at the moment. And I say just, it's 0.6 of a second, because Checkers is absolutely flying right now around this circuit. Kevin Parrish, he finished in 3rd position last week and looking for another strong result around the Thruxton circuit as they head around. And Tutul Greg, one of the few new names last week. I say few, there was quite a number of them actually last week, and it is nice to see some even more new names heading out there today. So just to keep you updated on that, we've got Master Yota racing out there for the first time, Mike Calista out there. We got Tom Payne, Michael R. Van, Mads Lunde out there for the first time as well. So a number of names that are racing around for the first time, not only this season, but in the league overall as well. Tutul Greg comes through the final chicane, and we are going to jump up now to Big Al, who has just started a new times lap. Matty Quill goes 3,000ths of a second quicker than Slugger. Big Al losing the rear end a little bit there. These cars do like to twitch around on the brakes there as we head up on the what was the outer ring road of an airport. There is still 2 active runways around the Thruxton circuit. You've got a paved one and a grass one. Of course, this circuit did used to be a an airport base in the war, just like Silverstone was, but Silverstone now no longer with any active runways. Of course, we race on was the active runways there. Here we just run on the outer road. We do go across part of an old original runway through the turn 2 and 3 complex. So there is a little bit of running on some old runways there. This chicane also on the bottom of an old part of the runway. Get through, try to get as close as you can to the inside of all of those chicanes without getting an off-track or a slowdown. Big Al crosses the line. Will it be time on that one? It doesn't look like it will. 4/10 slower than his personal best at the moment, but Matty Quill right now is the fastest man out there. He is running a 1:20.535. He's sitting 3,000ths of a second ahead of Slugger. Sean Sims, he's good in prototypes. He's good in these sorts of machines as well, which have a similar sort of driving style with the rear end being twitchy. So Sim's doing a good job right now to hold on to third in this session, and we will also go and have a look at the namesake of the league, the organiser, of course, Matt Malone, running around in the number 25 machine here today. He's currently 20th. Now, he did not have a great qualifying last week either, but he did manage to pull that into a top 10 result, and a strong result with that as well. So it's not as though Matt Malone is going to stay down the order. I'm sure he'll find some more time out there getting in some lap times at the moment, because there you go, he's managed to half his lap time with that and move up to 16th place, but still 1.6 seconds off of Matty Gwill's time right now. Richard Dempsey just allowing a couple of drivers through. He's waiting to see if there's someone he can work with to try and put in what would be his 8th pole position in the league. Of course, Dempsey not here last week, so this is the first time that he is heading out onto the track for season number 3. He is the defending champion, winning season number 2 by a singular point ahead of Matty Gwill. It was a very, very tight championship, and both of the previous seasons have been won on the final race of the season. Season 1, Slugger took it past Matty Gwill on the last lap of the race and managed to win around Daytona, which turned it into a championship win. And last season, Richard Dempsey showed some good pace at the front in the Mazdas around Sebring throughout the whole race, lost it to second in the overall race, but managed to win the championship, like I say, by a single point ahead of Matty Gwill, who was running around just behind him in 3rd position. So 2 very close championships. There is no way that this season is going to be any different. Those 2 drop weeks means that 8 of the races in this season are going to count, and we've seen it's drivers who have a number of drop points to spare that have ended up winning the championship. Slugger just picking up a few drop points in season number 1 that benefited him in the end. He could have called it quits and backed out of a race, but just heading out there, he managed to pull in points, and I'm thinking specifically to Summit Point in the VW Beetles, who was able to pull 16th place on that one, and it was that result, 1 lap behind the leader, that actually helped him win the championship. So yes, you might have a bad weekend, but you still want to get out there, make sure you're getting all the points on the board, because every point really does matter. We watch Mike Lister here. Lister, one of the new drivers racing here today for the first time, running around in the number 10 machine. We've got about 11.5 minutes left in this qualifying session at the moment, and it is Matty Gwill who's fastest. Richard Dempsey finds even more time, and right now the top 4 drivers are separated by a 1/4 of a 10th of a second. That is ridiculous. Literally a piece of paper between them across that timing line right now. Matty Gwill currently looking for his 5th pole of the championship, looking for his first pole this season, and on the back of a 10th place result last time out, a pole would be extremely helpful. It doesn't mean that's where you are going to finish though. Of course, Big Al did not convert his pole into a win last week. He did manage to get second though, but we have seen drivers start right at the very front and find their way to the very back before the end of the race. 20 minutes is a quick sprint race, but it's still a long time for things to happen, and they can and they will. Richard Dempsey coming through the final chicane here towards where the apron is of the runway. That's the paved runway apron. We come across timeline then and up towards turn number 1. We can expect to see side by side all the way through here in the start of the race, all the way onto the braking point here. And if we're going to see an overtake for the lead at the very start, it will be onto the braking zone through that turn number 3. We then head This is where the bottom of the old runway used to be. And we head through now back onto the perimeter road with 10 minutes left to go. Michael R. Van has put in a time good enough for 30th place right now. 32 drivers are out there hot lapping at the moment, which is a full field of drivers and a nice field of drivers as Checkers finds a huge amount of time over those around him. Grill down to second as Checkers is looking to take his second pole in the championship and try to benefit on a win last week. Could he go back-to-back in race victories? Checkers previously winning on oval and showing his pace on the oval. Last week in the Porsche, though, he came to the front of the field by the end of the race. Can he be starting there and possibly end there by the end of this one? Mads Lunde here running around in 8th, just losing the position to Matt Malone. He finds himself now up in 7th position. But Lunde, one of the newer drivers heading out there, well, one of the new drivers heading out there today, is showing a good top 10 pace at the moment. Top 13 are all within 1 second of Checkers as it stands. Make that the top 14 as Auburn Kyle moves up into 12th, and Slugger finds a huge amount of time on that lap. Good enough for a 20.010. Slugger moves to the front, and after having internet issues last week, the Season 1 champion sits himself on provisional pole position. That does not mean by any case he will remain there. We have seen that pole position change name now a number of times through this session, and it is not at the end of it yet. 7.5 minutes still left to go in this qualifying session. Slugger right now in provisional pole position. Some of you may remember the name Bob Shelley. We spoke to him at the end of season number 1 in our season review. He did not have the best of season number 2s either, just like Slugger, who we spoke to. We didn't get a season 2 review in, which means we have not put anyone on the back foot this time. Hopefully everyone having a fair opportunity going into this season. Bob Shelley right now just outside the top 10, just outside a second of the pole man. Mads Lunde finds himself on second position, the front row of the grid, ahead of Checkers now, behind Slugger still, 0.3 of a second. Slugger has at the front of this field as it stands. We're still waiting from valid lap times from Greg Fronek and Tom Payne. As Big Al is coming out of the pit lane as well to see about improving on his time towards the end. He's 0.6 off of a provisional pole position right now, and of course he did take pole position last week. He wasn't able to convert that to that elusive victory. Can he do it today? Master Yota Racing finds himself in the top 10, and those new names once again creeping to the top. Just like we saw in season number 2, we saw a number of drivers move at the very front of that one. So it will be interesting to see what they can do here. As Provi coming in here with a raid onto the channel. Thank you so much, Provi, for sending your viewers across. I assume you may be having some issues over there, running 24th position at the moment. Hopefully all is well for you in terms of racing. But thank you for sending your viewers this way as we have Matty Grill with a nice bit of a tow here, chasing down a driver in front of him, looking to try and get a bit of a benefit there. Who is that? Is that Richard Dempsey? No, that's Dempsey's around later on in the lap. I'm not too sure who there was pulling Grill around, but he has found some help, as have most of our drivers out there. You aren't going to get a great lap time in without some slipstream there, as Sean Sims mines out of the way. As Mads Lunde here running around in the number 24 machine, currently trying to close down to Slugger, who is just off of a 1:19 lap time. 5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. That's a slide ahead of him. but it looks like they're going to stay out of the way. And that was Matty Quill going around, another driver off as well, but they've also jumped out of the way, which means that Slugger is out there in the 502 machine on provisional pole position, still looking to improve as it stands, as he holds that front row right now with Mads Lunde stepping in for the first time today and immediately looking to try and put his name into the history books, which he does. Mads Lunde puts it on provisional pole position, a 1:19.969, and in his debut race, could Mads Lunde find his way onto pole position? It is an elusive statistic to get, is just having a pole position. It's only gone the way of 10 drivers in the previous 22 rounds now. So it has not been an open book for anyone to get, but could we see Mads Lunde grab it in his first qualifying session in the league? It looks like he might, but other drivers are still out there looking to improve. Slugger is not. He probably thought he was going to be safe and it was going to be his. That was the wrong call. He remains down pit lane and will not be coming out to improve on his lap time towards the end of this one. Checkers right now in a fight out there with the 21. That's who is 21? That's Rydog out there at the moment, and Rydog was the driver who was giving Matty Quill a tow earlier. He's continuing to give Matty Quill a tow here. He has got some damage on the front left of his bodywork there, so there is a bit of bumping and banging going on in this qualifying session. All amongst friends, of course. All of the drivers out there are patrons of Matt Malone. Most of them have raced together for the previous 2 seasons, if not longer, across the course of their iRacing careers. And of course, if you want to get involved with this league and all of the different car and track combinations that we have coming up for the remainder of this season, you can still join today by heading across to Matt Malone's Patreon, signing up over there for at least $10 a month, and you can jump down onto the track and enjoy the racing action. The top 3 in the championship, of course, getting prizes including merch and iRacing credits, and of course some great Acertech gear as well if you win the championship. Now Slugger is running in second, Checkers in third, Matty Quill in fourth, but it is being led by the new man, Mads Lunde, at the top of this one. Can anyone displace him towards the end here? Matty Quill is trying to do that. Checkers is trying to do that as well. Of course, number of drivers still down pit lane as Dempsey does find time, but it's not enough to find his way to the front row of the grid. And Richard Dempsey and Slugger, 2 series champions, are running second and third in this qualifying session. Will they start side by side ahead of Matty Quill, who has finished second in both of the previous seasons? Of course, Richard Dempsey was very likely going to win season number 1 if he was able to attend all of those races. He had a very high likelihood of it. We're finishing inside the top 5 in every single race he attended. And of course, 5 victories over the previous 2 seasons, and that is the most of anyone so far. He has got the most poles as well with 7, but it does look like pole position today is going to go the way of Mads Lunde, who has put in an astonishing 19.969 on the board. The only driver to have broken into the 119. Across the line he'll go to start one final qualifying lap, pulling around Richard Dempsey behind. Dempsey is going to be trying to benefit by having Lunde in front of him here, getting that toe to push him maybe not onto pole, but ahead of Slugger. I mean, it's going to be tight anyway, but we did see for a while 4 drivers separated by less than a tenth of a second, so Let's see if it is going to get any closer here. The checkered flag is out here in qualifying. 30 names on the board. There are 32 drivers prepared to go racing. Can Richard Dempsey find any time on this final lap of asking as he heads through the back end of the course here? Pushing it as hard as he can, but within track limits up towards the chicane. The rear end likes to step out. Will it step out for him? Will it keep it all together? And it's a slide up ahead from Mads Lunde, and it's going to get in Dempsey's way, even if it was an improvement on his lap. Richard Dempsey will not be able to improve. A spin in front of him there at the end of qualifying will invalidate his final lap of asking. And that will be that. Let's have a look then at the grid for the start of round number 2 here at Thruxton Circuit in the SCCA Spec Racer Fords. And it is newcomer Mads Lunde who finds himself on pole position here for his first time in a debut race. What a great result for him. It will be Slugger who starts alongside Season 1 champion ahead of Richard Dempsey, who will start third, Season 2 champion. It will then be Race 1, round 1 winner of Checkers in 4th position ahead of 2-time runner-up Matty Grill. Sean Stims will start in 6th. He has a win to his name in this championship as well. Big Al starts 7th. He was pole last week. 2nd place is the best he's managed to do. He's done it multiple times. A win is still eluding him. Matt Malone will start in 8th position. He's taken 3 wins so far in the league history. Can he take a 4th today? Master Yota Racing will start in 9th ahead of Pepper No Crumbs. And Provi manages to get in 11th position ahead of Bob's Jelly in 12th. 13th will be Kevin Parrish ahead of Auburn Kyle. Turbo Snail will start this one in 15th ahead of, I think that's supposed to say Milky Philadelphia's in 16th position. I don't know why there has been an issue with his name there. It is Milky Philadelphia, so I do apologise why that is a J. Mecham will start in 17th ahead of Space Ghost. 19th will be for Josh Stafford ahead of Tony Jabroni. Casket Man will start in 21st ahead of Lap Traffic. Too Tall Greg in 23rd ahead of Rydog. 25th will be for Lobster Racing ahead of Right Click ahead of Neil Trotter and DDO Deadman. Mike Lister in 29th ahead of Michael Van. And then without lap times on the board, it will be Tom Payne and Greg Gorilla Fronek at the back of the field. We prepare to go racing for 20 minutes of action here at Thruxton. The lights are down and we are away. Off of the line and away we go side by side into turn number 1. As Mads Lunde is not there at the front and I'm not sure where he has disappeared to, but he is gone out of this session, which means it's side by side for the defending champion Dempsey and Season 1 champion Slugger. We have issues behind with smoke, but most drivers now facing the right way and they get through it all as we get lap number 1 underway here on the fastest circuit. And around we go again, more cars spinning. That's Too Tall Greg having issues towards the back of the field as well. And around that was Greg Gorilla Phonek down and out. It's side by side in the midfield. Rydog here looking to the inside, potentially of Milky Illadells. Can't quite do it. We'll have to settle in behind towards the front though. Richard Dempsey has opened the gap already. Big Al now looking to try and take the fight to Checkers in the early stage of this race. As we head up towards the chicane, Dempsey moves to the right to try and break the slipstream. 2 Slugger behind. It is side by side, number of drivers behind coming up towards this chicane now, seeing what they can do as Big Al makes his way past Checkers. It's 3 wide here in the midfield Through the chicane they go somehow without any contact at all, and we get through cleanly at the front here on the opening lap of the race. Matt Malone there in the number 25 machine, stuck on the outside, overtaken by Turbo Snail and Parrish, both of whom have been able to make their way up and past Matt Malone. Matt Malone stuck behind though as Checkers regains the position past Big Al here, who's running in that top 5 once again, exactly where he wants to be for now towards the end of this race. I'm sure he'll be wanting to find his way towards the front of that one, as that's Mecharm off on lap number 2 here. As we go to the midfield fight, it is Josh Stafford and Rydog running side by side. Rydog stuck on the outside, it will turn across to the inside line. Josh Stafford though stuck on that outside line. And he does manage to make it through and up that position there for now from Rydog, but he is stuck now behind Bob's Jelly as it's 2x2 in the mid-point. Of course, is that going to be contact there for Rydog? No, it's not, but slightly off the circuit. With Auburn Kyle and Bubs Jelly is going to go 3 wide, surely not 4 wide here, up towards the chicane. That would be a dangerous move, but we do it, and it leads to a big wreck there. A number of cars involved and around, including Rydog, Bob's Shelley and Auburn Kyle. You knew a 4 wide wasn't going to work out, and it didn't. The top 3 in this race right now, all of them are used to fighting each other because they have been fighting for championships since season number 1. It looks like we do have the return of Mads Lunde, a lap down at the back of his field, so issues for him. But he is back out again. That's a shame after a pole position. Who is going to take the victory, though, in this overall race? As we have a look towards the back, lap traffic has had a big issue to have some meatball flags there. What's happened to this through the chicane? It's a losing of the rear end, and that's how fragile these cars are as well. That was enough to bring out a meatball flag and end the race there for lap traffic. Up towards chicane, though, is Matty Quill going to look to try and make the move past Slugger. Slugger on a slightly different line to Dempsey as Dempsey takes that inside line towards the chicane. We're about 5 minutes through this race right now and across the timing line, and Slugger picked up a slowdown. It certainly looked like he cut the final chicane just a little bit, and it is a slowdown that's now going to drop him behind Checkers, as well as Checkers, race 1 winner, round 1 winner, has moved up into 3rd position, and just behind this train as that was Slugger. A big snap on the rear end there, sends him into the grass. He gets it around, but no, he goes around. And after internet woes last week, the Season 1 champions, Season 3 continues to struggle here for Slugger. Let's see if we can get just back to that wobble a little bit there, because it certainly looked like it was a wobble on the rear end for Slugger before he visited the grass. Yeah, he started sliding going in the corner and a big overcorrection, and unfortunately it was just too loose when he got back onto the black stuff once more. Dempsey and Will are now the 2 drivers fighting out at the front. Could Matty Quill find his 5th win in this league history and match Dempsey's record, or will Dempsey find his 6th win and his 1st this season? Both of them hunting down their 1st. The only driver today not hunting down their 1st win this season is this man, Checkers, who is in with a potential victory running in 3rd. And don't discount Big Al. He managed to get pole last week. He lost out on gaining his elusive 1st ever victory. Could he do it today? He's running around in 4th position right now. Slugger looks like he's had another issue there. What's happened here? No, it's not an issue with Slugger. It was an issue for Papa No Crumbs. And Slugger managed to get through without an issue and avoid that. He's up to 12th now. He's still getting points on the board, and that is what matters later on in the season, is all of those individual points. And here comes Matty Quill for a potential move to the lead. He went to the outside, wasn't going to be able to hold that wide line, but he could see that there's an opportunity now. Back marker just up ahead. Is that Mad Sunday? No, it's not. It is Tom Payne running around there at the moment in 29th position. That's just ahead of this lead car fight that is being chased by Big Al. Matty Quill once again looking potentially for the inside there. Doesn't turn into anything at the moment. Neil Trotter has been a big gainer today. He's up 9 spots so far this evening. He has been doing a great job. Oh, this afternoon, I should say. Been doing a great job. Kevin Parrish, though, looking to try and move into 5th position. Side by side here with Master Yota Racing. And he manages to make his way around the outside and into the top 5. And here comes Turbo Snail to the inside as well. And Turbo Snail makes that move into 6th position as it stands. And we are looking at our biggest movers and shakers. And right now it is Turbo Snail and Josh Stafford, the two biggest movers and shakers at the moment, moving up 9 apiece. Right, this gaggle of cars chasing each other down almost distracted us from an attempted move from Matty Quill there. Didn't turn into anything, but what is this going to turn into? Into the chicane. Everyone settles themselves down, doesn't do anything with it. Matt Malone is at the back of this train of drivers looking to try and make his way through as we ride on board here with Matt Malone up towards turn number 2. Matty Quill's to the outside of Richard Dempsey, a potential move around the outside. Again, nothing doing there. Big Al has dropped off the rear here. Could benefit if there's an instant between these three drivers. That is unlikely though with the racing respect we see from the three of these, but a small mistake could lead to something bigger. Of course, all of these drivers have won before, but not this season. Checkers is the only man with a win to his name. Could he take the double? We go through the back end of the circuit, and Checkers is all over the rear of Matty Quill. Could potentially here make the move to the inside. Isn't going to be able to do it just yet. Still chasing behind, but has some good speed there on the exit as we look at who is going to try and make a move. Are we going to see it go 3 wide? Checkers surely will back out. You can hear him backing out. Quill backed out as well. Checkers just having to get on the brakes a little bit earlier there as Quill backing out almost invited Checkers to the inside line. It didn't quite though, and we are now halfway through this race. Richard Dempsey still leading the way. We see this gaggle of cars behind, and Matt Malone benefits nicely out of that one as Kevin Parrish and Turbo Snail side by side now, but Parrish comes out ahead there. How did Matt Malone make that move? Let's see what happened in front of him into the chicane. A slow exit from the 5 there, and there he goes, just about enough room for Malone to squeeze his bathtub through, and he managed to do it. We continue to watch some fights go on as Mike Lister gets past Right Click. This is outside the top 20. No points on the board back here as Mads Lunde showing his pace, even with some issues on the start line. He is getting the purple lap times on the board at the moment. We are just going to see if we can get him up on the left-hand side, because it's not been showing him at the moment, because he wasn't able to get onto the grid at the very start. There he is, so we can see how he is doing. Right, back up towards this lead fight though, because here goes Matty Quill, and this time Quill is to the inside, and that will give him the race lead. Matty Quill moves past Richard Dempsey to take the lead here at round number 2. Dempsey down to second, and Checkers chasing down Slugger. Recovery drive for him. He's back into the top 10. Matt Malone bumps Parrish there as Turbo Snail has found his way into the top 5. Are we going to see an overtake from Matt Malone to find his way into the top 5 here, which will really help his championship? We get over the curbing there. Different racing lines from all of them here as Meckham and Bob's Jelly swap around in 17th and 18th position. These two drivers were fighting heavily in season number 1 in the championship points. They're fighting out there on track now as Tony Gibboni has had an issue at the end of the lap and has spun around. Luckily avoided by anyone, and he gets his car going straight again. Back up then towards the lead fight. Checkers has dropped off just a little bit from the two Brits of Gwill and Dempsey. Dempsey goes to the outside but has a huge amount of speed here and is just going to be able to fly into the lead, but the door is still open if Matty Gwill wants it. He's a bit too far behind and won't be able to do that. Excuse me, I had a bit of a sneeze there in the middle of saying that. Right, we go across the timing line with Dempsey once again in the race lead after 9 laps of asking, and Turbo Snail has gone around at the final chicane and it's all by himself. A huge wreck there. Let's see. This was at the front of the train of drivers for the top 5. He loses the rear end, and what could have been a phenomenal result for Turbo Snail ends in disaster for him. It now means Kevin Parrish leads that fight for the top 5. That includes Matt Malone and Master Yota Racing in 6th and 7th position. Josh Stafford running around in 9th right now, ahead of Slugger. But we go back towards the lead here because Checkers has been able to close back in to the fight at the very front of this one as Neil Trotter has found himself in the wall. Look at this. Is it the rear end again? It is, but through the right-hander there, and then just unfortunate where those barriers are that Trotter slams into the wall, and his day is also done. A number of cars down or a lap down in this one. It's not been an easy evening of racing, or afternoon of racing for most of them out there here on the Saturday. But we are watching this fight at the front once more because Matty Gwill has just moved back into the lead. This is how that occurred as we were watching Trotter's issue. Matty Gwill just managed to pull the speed like Dempsey did on the lap earlier. Looks like Turbo Snail might be back out again. He's cleared his people flag and could be running around, but back towards the lead fight, and Dempsey to the inside of Gwill early. No, he'll stay behind. I thought that might have been an earlier move in the lap than usual. That is the number 2 there of Turbo Snail, who has just exited the pit lane after sorting out his people flag, and he's just trying to get some laps on the board, see if anyone else ahead of him goes out. Of course, here goes Dempsey again. Are we going to see just that speed working out? It certainly is. Surely what we're learning here is you're going to want to be the driver behind on the last lap. Of course, you can tell the driver to the inside who's getting past isn't pushing to try and remain side by side through the chicane. It's allowing this fight to continue on, but they certainly aren't fighting too hard in that chicane. It looks like Mike Lister's had some issues. We saw him slow along the straight. That's because he's gone around at the final chicane as well. We're back towards this leading group of drivers, so being led by Richard Dempsey. 3/10 of a second into the corner, 2/10 out of it there as Gwill gets all over the rear. How did how is this going to play out? Because they are side by side with Matty Gwill looking to try and take the position early in the lap. Doesn't work out. Again, he backs out that long left-hander on the outside. She's not going to be able to carry the speed. But what are we going to do at the bottom end here? Checkers has just been staying behind. I think he's got the speed to make the overtake and make the move through. He's just choosing right now to stay behind and watch Dempsey and Gwill fight this out. Big Al is 4.5 seconds back. They don't have to worry about 4th place, but are we going to go 3 wide? For a slight moment there. Checkers looked like he was going to make it. Dempsey this time holds on to the lead ahead of Matty Gwill. But just for a moment, it looked like Checkers was going to potentially make that 3 wide. as Mike Lister continues to have issues here. It looks like he's just trying to get out of the way of back markers. Here goes Matty Quill though. It'll be the outside of turn 3 onto the brakes. Dempsey holds it at the moment, but this fight is still going on. And with about 2 laps to go at the end of this one, it is still anyone's guess who is going to win. Side by side once more with Quill to the outside of Dempsey. He did this last lap, he wasn't able to hold it. He has to back out once again. I think he's just trying to venture, see what's going to work out for the final lap of the race. Matt Malone has dropped it down to 10th. There's been an issue. Contact with the 28 machine of Tootle Greg, who was a lap down from Matt Malone. It was contact with a back marker that has sent him down to 10th position. Matty Quill moves back into the lead here. Is Dempsey going to fight to hold it? He certainly is. Quill backs out, and now they have got a back marker in front of them. Is he going to jump out the way, the 18? It's going to be 3 wide for a moment, but it's side by side between Matty Quill and Richard Dempsey. It was DDO Deadman who let these drivers pass. Big Al is closing in behind with the fights going on out here. I don't know if it'll be enough with 2 to go, but they did just lose a second on the previous lap to Big Al. As we head out of the first sector here, with Dempsey leading the way, Automatic Will and Checkers, it will be white flag next time across the line. 1.5 laps left to go here in this fight for the win. Just like we saw at Porsche's, it's going to come down to the end. Just like we saw at Porsche's, Checkers is involved in this one. As we're coming through the middle of the course here and up towards the end, the chicane for the penultimate time. It's going to go 3 wide. It will be 3 wide. Checkers on the outside, Quill on the inside, on the middle, Dempsey on the inside. Dempsey holds it, Quill in second, Checkers third. They go 3 wide, but they don't change positions. It's all going to be about the exit though. Dempsey has a deeper run to the timing line. The white flag will be out. Matty Quill leads onto the final lap. Checkers gets his nose in there. He's been behind all race long. He stays behind for now. Quill to the inside of Dempsey. Dempsey will hold it around the outside. They remain side by side here. It will swap over once again. Matty Quill leads. Checkers going for the speed there. He ran over the curb. He's looking. Who do I support? Who do I push? Who's going to find their way towards the front here? Dempsey tries to hold it around the outside. It works. It'll swap to the inside line. Dempsey gets to move to the lead. Checkers will have to follow behind. No! He goes to the inside of Matty Quill. Surely that'll slow them down. They settle in single file through the end of the course. Up towards the chicane. It's 3 drivers fighting out for the win. Dempsey and Quill, side by side. Checkers goes to the middle. It's 3 wide on the final lap of asking. Contact. Dempsey wobbles. Checkers backs out of it. Dempsey has the inside. Quill's on the outside. Quill puts his nose in, but is that a corner cut? It's 3 wide to the line. Who's gonna win it? Across the line, Richard Dempsey wins. Matty Quill comes in second, and Checkers takes third by 1,000ths of a second. Big Al comes home in fourth. There's still fights behind as Matt Malone drag races across the line with Josh Stafford, but Stafford is penalised at the end. 9th place will be for Matt Malone. There's still fights going on towards the end of the laps as drivers try to finish this one. This is still an ongoing race. Lap traffic is trying to hold on to the final point that is on offer. He holds on to 20th ahead of Lobster Racing. What will Lobster Racing do? 2 drivers with penalties towards the front, Stafford and Papanograms. through the final chicane. Lap traffic will hold on to 20th. We'll have to wait for those penalties to be applied. That'll be for slowdowns to the racing line, no doubt. But at the end of that one, what a way to finish it off. What an ending. Let's have another look at this just drag race to the line once more. It was Checkers closest to the wall, Dempsey in the middle, Gwill closest to the grass, the timing line there, just about to Dempsey, and then to Checkers, and then to Gwill. What an end to that one. What a race that was, and well done to all of our drivers. Penalties have been applied, so let's have a look at the final race results and the championship standings after the second round of racing action. Richard Dempsey wins that race ahead of Matty Gwill. Checkers tied on the official standings. It was 1/1000th of a second separating them, but on the official race results they show as tied, which is crazy. Big Al came home in fourth in the end ahead of Kevin Parrish. Master Yoda Racing finishing in sixth position ahead of Slugger, who recovered to seventh. Sean Sims took home eighth ahead of Matt Malone, and Provi took home a top 10 result. Then it was Rydog in 11th ahead of Milky Illadels. Again, apologies for that J, I'm not sure why that's there. Then we had Tony Jaboni in 13th out of Bob's Jelly. Mecharm in 15th. Casket Man held on to 16th position out of Space Ghost. Josh Stafford came home in 18th out of Lap Traffic. And Lobster Racing managed to take the final point in the end because of penalties being applied at the end of that one. Josh Stafford with a penalty, of course, dropped him to 18th. Papa No Crumbs with the other penalty for 21st. Right Click was the last driver on the lead lap. Down a lap was Turbo Snail, DDO Deadman, Tutul Greg, Mads Lunday after qualifying on pole having issues, meaning that he couldn't get to the grid. Michael Arvan in 27th had a Mike Lister, Tom Payne and Neil Trotter in your top 30. Auburn Kyle went out early doors, and Greg Fronek on the opening lap of the race. What that means then is our championship standings have been affected. Let's have a look at how our championship standings are looking out of round number 2. And it is being led still by Checkers with a strong result of third place here to back up his win last week. Big Al holds on to second in the championship as well with 38 points, 5 points separate them. Now, of course, remember, at the end of next week, drop weeks will be applied, and therefore it will be the best results that will hold your championship standings. This is just nice to look at to see where we might be after a few more races are reinstated. Kevin Parrish holds on to third ahead of Matty Gwill, a couple of points separating them. Matt Malone holds on to a top 5 in the end, and Richard Dempsey flies up into 6th position. Josh Stafford holds on to 7th, and Mecharm and Milky Illadels are tied in 8th and 9th. Sean Sims sits in a 10th position. Papa No Grums holds on to 11th after no points today. Master Yoda Racing gets himself into 12th out of Auburn Kyle, who's tied on points with Tony Jaboni and Slugger. No Drux TV tonight, but he is holding on to 16th in the championship, tied with Casket Man. Provi is an 18th out of Lobster Racing, and Rydog rounds out the top 20. Marshmallow not here again today, but 21st in the standings with 8 points out of Bob's Jelly and Space Ghost. Carl Ditch sits in 24th out of Tutul Greg and Lap Traffic. No points on the board for more drivers. Powski, Right Click, DDO Deadman, Greg Gorilla Phonek, all looking for their first points, as is Turbo Snail, Tom Payne, Mike Lister, Michael Arvan, Mads Lunday, and Neil Trotter. What an amazing evening of racing, or afternoon of racing, as I should say, here in the Matt Malone Patron League. It has been an absolutely fantastic event. That end of the race coming down to a hair. 43 hundredths of a second separating our three front runners, and with second and third officially classified as finishing on exactly the same race time. That is crazy, but it was Grill who came ahead of Checkers. Of course, we still do have more coming your way. We head to Mugello next time out next Saturday in the Formula Vs on Valentine's Day. Love will be in the air, hatred will be in the air for the Formula Vs, of course. But a great season coming up next week will be the last race before our first break of the season as we head to Willow Springs for round number 4. But here around the Thruxton circuit, we come to a close. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you are new around here, make sure you do hit that follow button so that you are notified when we go live. We will have the race highlights available again within the next hour or so. So make sure you head also across to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@JosephWrightTV. Get yourself subscribed over there. We are trying to reach 200 subscribers and getting our channel noticed. So please head across there and hit the subscribe button as well. And make sure you catch the next one. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Engines humming, lights burn bright. Another season, broad daylight. History written, legacies free. Welcome back, this is season 3. Slugger ruled when it all began. Season 1, the original hand. Richard Dempsey took the crown. Season 2, he shut it down. Now the grid is back again. New contenders, old revenge. Same league, higher velocity. Every lap writes history. Season 3, feel the heat. Wheel to wheel, no retreat. From green lights to victory. Matt Malone League, this is me. Season 3, stand your ground. Every inch is hard fought now. No rewind, no guarantee. Matt Malone Patreon League, Season 3. Crowns are earned, not given free. 2 champions, now history. Who's next when the lights go green? Welcome to the grid, Season 3. Season 3.